Hi there, everybody. How you doing?
Good.
You okay? Good. Thank you so much for attending this press conference tonight. We're really grateful for that. I also want to start by thanking everybody who made this possible. We're going to bring you what we think is some really exciting news tonight. Actually, we think what we're going to tell you tonight makes a big difference for Reason users, but possibly to the whole music instrument industry. But I'm going to hold you in suspense for a little while because we want to go back and look a little into what happened in 2011, because that was a really important year for Propellerhead. And one thing that continues to amaze us at Propellerhead is how devoted our user base is. And it's one of the things that makes it really great to work at this company. You know, the reactions we get every time we ship a new product, and all the feedback we hear from musicians about the music they're making with our products. So that's really something that makes a difference for us in our lives. And that fact has never been as obvious to us as it was when we shipped Reason 6. And Reason 6 was a really important upgrade for us because it changed a lot of what Reason is. We put recording into it, we put mixing, production, functionality, we added cool new effects, all of that you're familiar with. But there was something else that we did with Reason 6, and that is how we introduced it. And we did that through the Pay What You Want program. And that meant that we let our loyal users decide for themselves how much they thought the update was worth and pay exactly that. And we did that in an effort to reward them, right? Because we want to pay back for all the loyalty we've seen. So of course, when you do something like that, of course the upgrade is going to be successful. You know, we had huge uptake rates, that's obvious. But there was something else that happened that I want to share with you. And that is what happened to new Reason sales. Because Reason 6 was the most successful upgrade we've ever done. We were 250% better than we've been with any other upgrade in terms of new sales of Reason. So that's really important to us. And great verification, of course. We did more stuff in 2011. We started doing hardware products. This is the first one, not the last. It's Balance. I hope you've seen it. I hope you've touched it. I hope you've held it. I hope you've used it, because we're so proud of it. It's really an incredibly well-designed product, all the way from the inside to the out. And in fact, it's so well-designed, we've been winning design awards. We got the IF Design Award a few months ago, and breaking news just the other day, a couple of days ago, we were told that we were awarded the Red Dot Design Award. I don't know if you're familiar with that, but not only did we get Red Dot, we got it in the best of the best category. But we don't design products to win design awards, of course. We do it for musicians. And the idea behind Balance was, as it always is, to help people make more music and have more fun doing it. So why did we get into audio hardware this way? Because we talked to musicians and we actually learned that the stuff they had, or the stuff they were thinking about, that they found it inadequate in many ways, confusing, unreliable, and not well enough integrated with the software that they use and love. So we set out to fix those things, and I think if you talk to anyone who's using the product, or if you read the reviews that are coming out now of the product, I think you'll easily find that we've succeeded. And the news we have also around Balance today is that we've been able to squeeze production cost a little bit, and we wanted to pass that saving on to our users. So we've changed the price. It's now $399 and €349. So we think if it wasn't unbeatable before, it really is now as a product. We did more stuff in 2011. We introduced another new product, Reason Essentials. And Reason Essentials is the little brother to Reason. But when we say little brother, we don't want you to be fooled by that. this is the real Reason deal. This is not one of those cut down to the bare bones kind of thing that seems to come with every cereal box nowadays, right? This is really Reason. What we sometimes say jokingly in the company is we say that Reason is probably all you want, but in actuality, Reason Essentials might be all you need. It's a really cool program. And we want to bring the Reason thing, experience, whatever you want to call it, to as many people as possible. So we decided for a price change. Reason Essentials is now down to $99, whatever your currency. We think that's going to be a great offer for a lot of musicians out there who are not yet on the Reason bandwagon. Okay, so much for the history part. Let's talk about now. Let's talk about the future. Are you ready? I want to start by talking a little bit about what's happening on the mobile platform, because we think this is really, really important, what's going on. And as you know, Propellerhead were really early out, one of the major music software companies that were first out on the iOS platform with Rebirth, 2010. And the good thing about being early out is that you learn things. So what did we learn? Well, we learned that this platform is really, really different. And when we say that, there are the obvious differences. Like it's a different form factor, and we have touch. But that's obvious. The stuff that wasn't so obvious, but what we learned along the way, was that people are using these devices differently. They use them in different situations, in different settings, and with different aspirations on their music making compared to when they sit down in front of a computer. It's very different. And we think that there was a lost opportunity in this, because we see that some of the products coming out for these new platforms are, in a way, ports of what we already have on the computer platform. And we know, we've heard really strongly and clearly from musicians that you want Reason on the mobile platform. So we've done that. But maybe we haven't done it in the way you expected. Because we said, what if we take Reason? What if we take the soul of Reason, what we think is really important to Reason, which is the sound, the inspiration, the creative qualities. What if we take all that and marry it to the stuff we learned about mobile and how musicians are now using these tools in new situations? What if we take and design a product from the ground up based on those premises? And that's what we've done. And it's called Figure. So Figure is an iPhone, iPod Touch, and iPad application. And to show it, I'd like to invite up on stage Leo Natersbøs and Kalle Paulsson. Give them a great applaud.
Right, thank you, Ernst. Ernst gave us all of 3 minutes to show you Figure, which is actually kind of perfect because it's about that amount of time we usually have for, say, a short bus ride. We designed Figure for those moments. Waiting for a friend, a commercial break, or just maybe kicking it back in the studio. How do we want to spend that time? Do we want to check Facebook or Twitter again? Or do we want to create a piece of music? Because with Figure, you actually can. Leo is here, so he's going to show us how with his iPhone right here. This is live, streamed from his iPhone. Figure is a Reason-powered music creation app for iPhone and iPod. We designed it for touch from the ground up. Everything on the screen can be touched and interacted with. The drum part is powered by the Kong drum designer in Reason. What you record in Figure is what you draw on the pads. Each wheel starts spinning when you put your finger down on the pad. So you can record by tapping, as you normally would, or you can hold and let the wheel spin. So in the time it took me to talk to you about this, Leo already has a beat going. So we can change what we're playing by altering the rhythm wheels, and you already did. So let's try another kit for this one. That's nice. So let's add some bass to this beat we have going. So bass and lead are powered by the Thor polysonic synthesizer. On this screen we have 2 more wheels to filter our input. These define our range and the number of notes from the current tonality that I'm going to talk about that later. So all the sounds have parameters that we can tweak to our liking. We can set them where we want, or we can record them. So this might be like about 1 bus stop, and we already have drums and a kick and bass line down. So let's get some melody in here. We can also tweak multiple parameters by tapping them together and just add fingers to the touchpad. Right, so we're no longer touching, but the points keep doing their thing. Right, so we put Kong and Thor in your iPhone, but we didn't stop there. We also put the Reason mixer in there. And we pre-routed the sidechain, and we do have the master bus compressor from Reason 6 turned on. So on the song tab, we can change the tonality that affects the 2 synth parts. We also have controls for tempo, key, and shuffle, so we can turn up the groove a bit. And I think we're about to get off the bus now. So Figure is really easy to get into. It sounds fantastic because it's Reason, and we're playing with it every day. It doesn't even feel like work, although we've been working with it a lot for the last couple of months. So we're going to keep having fun with it, and we think you will too. Thank you. And thank you, Leo.
Did you get that? Did you get that it's actually Thor? It's actually Kong? It's actually the Reason mixer and compression and all that on an iPhone? It's pretty cool. We submitted Figure to the Apple App Store on this Friday, a few days ago. So we're just waiting for them to review it, and then it's going to be available for everyone to try. And then was the last thing, we decided we had to put a price on this, right? What's it going to cost? And again, we took the decision, like with Reason Essentials, that we want as many people as possible to be able to get into this. So we decided that the right price for Figure 1.0 was $1. $1, and it's yours. A slice of Reason on your iPhone. Cool. Okay, let's move on. We got more new stuff to show you and talk about. And if it hasn't been obvious already, the star of the show today is Reason. When we started out creating this program and first introduced it in 1999, the idea, the dream, the promise that we wanted to deliver on was to get people to have a full music studio in their computer. And we'd like to think that we succeeded in that. The fact is we succeeded so well that people told us that they didn't want to leave Reason to finish their music. They wanted to do complete productions. So over the years we worked to add, give people everything they've asked for in terms of recording and production, mixing facilities, more instruments, more effects, worked on the sequencer, all that. We actually think that we're up to a point now where if you're a Reason musician, there's nothing that stands between you and success. Everything's in the program that you need. There's multiple cases. We can prove that 1 million times people are using that. So we could stop. We're done. But of course, musicians all over the world tell us not to. And if I can summarize what they're asking for in one word, that word would be more. They want more of what we're already giving them. They want more creativity, more instruments, more effects, more of all that stuff. And sure, we can keep on doing that. We can keep on adding stuff. We know how to build synthesizers and effects. But the truth is there are a lot of other people who know how to do that too. And they do it differently from us, which is a good thing. So we said, what if we invite them? What if we invite them to the Reason Rack and bring their designs in and see what they can do? And that's exactly what we've done. And we call it rack extensions. Thank you. So you're applauding before you know what it is. So what is it? The easiest way to explain that, and actually also to let you in on a little secret, is to tell you that as a Reason musician, you've been using rack extensions already for almost 6 months. Because Alligator, Pulverizer, and the Echo in Reason 6 are rack extensions. Not a full implementation of the technology, but the important parts that let us test this so they were really sure that it would work before we ship the full implementation. Let's get back to the definition. What is rack extensions? Rack extensions is a technology that allows third parties to create and design, but not only that, but also to distribute and sell devices for the Reason Rack. We're going to talk about all those points. So maybe you're thinking, what the hell? Come on, Propellerhead plugins have been available for 200 years now. You didn't invent this. And you're absolutely right if you're thinking that. We did not invent that. But we did have a chance to take a step back and look at plugin technology. And when we did that, we saw a lot of things that we really, really liked. We saw the possibility for musicians to expand their sonic palette, to get new inspiration. We saw in the actual developer community, we saw lots of incredible talent, innovation. But we also saw some stuff that we didn't like. Some stuff that troubled us. Especially when we were observing people using plugin systems and making music. And I want to talk a little bit about those things because those are the things that set rack extensions apart. So one of the things that are problematic for musicians with plugins is that they're different. So they're different, they can be different in a good way, but they can also be different in a bad way. If all you wanted was to add a simple effect, then you have to start over and relearn new user interfaces, new ways of interacting. And not the cool stuff, but the really simple stuff, like tweaking controls or loading a patch is different again and again and again. We don't think that's right. And the integration into the system, I mean, as a musician or as a computer user rather, you've gotten used to all these great things like cut and paste and a really simple thing like undo. Does that work with plugins? It doesn't. And how many of us have more than one computer? Or how many of us are sometimes working at home, thank you, and sometimes working in a studio? And here's a novel concept. How many of us are sometimes working together with other musicians? Right? 2 musicians working together. Have you tried that with a plugin system? Have you tried to set up 2 computers in 2 different places where you can actually do this really simple task of creating one song on the one computer, then move it over to the other and have it open and sound exactly the same? It's really, really hard. And imagine then that one of those systems is a Mac OS machine and the other is a Windows machine. So we said, we're going to fix all of that. And we have. So they're platform compatible. Totally transparent. And then, of course, we have all the cool stuff that you can do in Reason that you can't do in anywhere else. Like the routing, using the combinators. We said we want them to be part of that too. So rack extensions are really first-class citizens in the Reason rack. They share everything you know and love about using Reason devices. And if you don't believe me, we're going to prove it. So I invite Mats Karlöv up on stage.
Thank you. Finally, hooray! Okay.
And before you get started, I just want to say that what we're showing today is a technology demo. So none of what you're seeing today is finished product, but we wanted to show it anyway. Thank you.
Thank you,
Mats.
Hello, my name is, thank you. My name is Mats Karlöv. I used to be product manager for Reason, and then Ernst offered me to become a product manager for rack extension technology, and it's been a great journey so far, and it's really exciting. Normally, we don't go out and tell the world about things that are not completed, but this stuff, we find it so extremely exciting, so we can't contain ourselves. We have to get out there and show it to you guys. So I have here, hopefully, a little demo song there where I can show some of the stuff that are in production. And these are early stages, so even if it might look a little bit so it's because we are still working on getting the finer details in there. This is a song that a friend of mine sent to me, and I asked if I could add a little bit more character to it. And what I picked up immediately was this backing vocals here. It sounds good, but maybe we can improve it. So now I'm going to show you something that none of you have ever seen before. And they're not my holiday pictures, by the way, as some of you might think. Here's the create menu, and here we have a plethora of new devices. For example, the wonderful Trident A-range equalizer from Softube. And thank you so much, Niklas and Oscar and all the guys at Softube for walking over dead bodies to make this happen. I'm really appreciative. Anyway, this one works exactly like all other Reason devices. So if I, for example, change things, I can actually, as Ernst pointed out, undo these things without undoing the creation of the rack extension that would normally happen in another environment. If I, for example, have, if I want to automate one of these parameters, I do as I always done as a Reason user. I option click this parameter here. I get a lane in the sequencer that actually says high mid gain, and not MIDI CC20 or whatever that might be in otherwise. I create a little clip, I add some automation, and this one starts working. The same workflow as all the other rack extension rack devices that we have currently in the system today. So okay, I added this EQ. I think the vocals have improved immensely, but it might be improved slightly further. And here I would like to thank you so much to Urs and to Clemens for doing this wonderful ambient processor from the Ubic series, the Ubic A, which just adds that extra flair that we all have learned to love and adore. The things that takes us out of bed every morning. I love this one. So okay, now the vocals are sitting nicely in the track, as you can hear. The next thing I would like to adjust is this piano part over here. The author of this song had a taste in celestial metallic sounds. It sounds like this. And there's nothing wrong with this one. Well, it might be something wrong with this one. I personally like this to maybe sound slightly more acoustic. So now I'm going to load an instrument that we at Propeller have developed ourselves with this technology. The Radical Piano. And it sounds really nice. In this piano I can change the character of the sound from the natural to the subdued to the agitated. I can mix various microphone blends here, and I can also increase the sympathetic resonance between the strings. So this is also a physical model inside. But all rack devices has a backside, and in this case the backside is beautiful. As you can see, proof. What is cool about Reason is that it's sort of like a modular system, and all rack extension will inherit that for free. So if I take, for example, the audio output from this celestial metal that we listened to earlier, and I can feed this audio into the piano so it will resonate with the strings and the body. And then I'll move the MIDI clip down here so we can hear it playing as well. And now you can hear the reminiscent of that original. So it's not really destroying his old work, but it's actually adding the piano with that. Okay. Doing this stuff, by the way, drawing a cable like that, repatching, is really complex stuff for the computer to assign multi-threads and across several cores. But for the user, it's really simple, as it's always been. Next stuff I want to work on are the drums. And Red Drum is playing the drums here, feeding into this mixer that goes into this mix channel over here. And I can start creating new devices here, but I have prepared a little combinator for this one. And all the rack extensions will have the same loading and saving of patches as we have in Reason today. So by loading this combinator, I can show you a third device, or a fourth device actually, that the wonderful guys at Sonic Charge has been working on. Magnus Lidström and Freddan. Thank you so much, and it's amazing what you can do from the Curacao country if you're motivated with umbrella drinks and stuff. Now you wonder what happened to the drums. Well, they sound like this. Okay, I know it's close to perfect, you might think. But I can add even more to this. This combinator patch uses lots of stuff. What is the main difference between this version of BitSpeak and the VST version of BitSpeak, apart from the stuff that Ernst mentioned that you can't undo easily, loading, saving patches, automation, remote handling, etc., is that you have CV cables on the back. I'm not going to spoil anything here, you will see more of this later, but here we have lots of yummy CVs ins and outs. And I won't go through all of them now, but you have to believe me, it's really fun to work with this one. Like this. Okay, I'm going to draw it back. Okay, I wanted to add, again, the Ubic A to this one, as well as the Ubic F, the flanger. And I've added these as send effects. So I increase the... Now we're talking. Okay, maybe we should add some of the dry signal to get that nice sound again back. What is amazing about this right now, what we're looking at, is that all these devices are working seamlessly together, just like any other rack extension. So in reality, the workflow that have been well appreciated by many still remains, while we still keep external companies coming in and adding to our plethora of devices. And with those simple words, I would like to end on a really high note, and that note sounds like this. Ernst, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Mats. It's pretty cool. So far we've talked about what happens in Reason when you're making music. because that's the most important part of this. But there is another side to using instruments and effects in your music making, and that is how you actually get them and how you manage them. Let's take this simple example that you decided that what's going to really take your music making to new heights is a new EQ or a new compressor. And you decided you want something for your music making because it's fun. So you do your research, you look on the internet, you find 8 different models that you'd like to try out, and you want to try them out on your music. You just don't want to listen to canned examples on some developer's webpage. You want to try them in your music. What do you have to do? You have to go to 8 different places. You have to download stuff. You have to find the demo, if there even is a demo. You have to create user accounts. You have to run installers. You have to do authorization stuff. You have to do instantiation, whatever that means. You have to do all this stuff. You know, I mean, just for that example, that can actually take as much as up to a day until you're up to a point where you can actually run your vocals through the 8 things and see which one you like the best. And that's a day lost making, that you could be spending making music instead. So we added another component to this, which is the store, where you get your rack extensions. So it's one store that Propeller are hosting. And before you stare too long at this, yes, this is a complete mock-up. But the idea is here. So what do you have to do to try out one new instrument or effect in this system? You have to click exactly one button, the try button. What happens, stuff gets downloaded to your computer, installed automatically. Next time you run Reason, it's there. One click. And not only that, this store will also host all the rack extensions that you want to try out. So it's really easy to search and compare and try things out. And there will be demo versions of everything. So we think that's going to make a big difference. But it doesn't end there either, because there's a life after your demo, there's a life after your purchasing. And we talked about that a little bit. We talked about the situation where you're going to the studio, or the situation where you actually are going to get a new computer, or you decided to switch from Mac OS to Windows, or vice versa. We're agnostic. And then you're going to be there and you're going to need, it's your stuff. So what we're doing is we're hosting all the rack extensions. So when you need them on another system than you are right now, it's a couple of mouse clicks and it all gets installed automatically. That's all you need to do. And we guarantee that we'll host all your purchases forever. And we'll make them compatible with your stuff forever. So we think that's a big difference. Last thing I want to say about this is what is the most evil thing that can happen when you're making music with computers? What's the thing that disturbs your creativity the most? Crashing. Computers crash. You know, hard disks fail. Stuff happens. If you're a Reason user, if you talk to a Reason musician, you will hear that our stuff just works. You know, we're really sticklers both for stability and performance. But this time we went totally to the extreme. So we made it so that it's really, really hard to write a rack extension that crashes. It's really hard. You can do it, but it's hard. But if you do, and if it does, then Reason's still going to be running. It cannot take down your host. It's just going to go silent, then ask you to save and restart. So your most important thing is that your document is safe, your song is safe, always. So speaking of that, I want to get into the area of development, because we're talking about technical stuff. And you've seen some stuff already. There are a lot more companies right now working on making rack extensions for this platform. Not all of them want to talk about it. You know, they want to stay secret until they finish their work. We can appreciate that. We've been there too. But we're really grateful that some companies in addition to the ones you've seen here today, have decided to share with us that they're working with us. And you know what they're doing? They have enough faith in us to work on their products while we put the final touches to the technology itself, which is astounding, and we're really grateful for that. So up here you see some of the companies that Mats were talking about: Softtube, Yuhi, Sonic Charge, but also new companies like GeForce, companies, established companies, but that we didn't show today. They're working on some couple of new cool designs. Sugar Bytes, same thing. The P stands for PEF. Maybe that name is known to some of you, but it's a new name in instruments and effects, that's for sure. And then we have Korg, a really established and well-known company that is now our partner, which we're really grateful for. Thank you very much. But we want more. Just like musicians want more, we want more too. So I'd like to take this opportunity to invite everyone out there who's already a plugin developer or is thinking about becoming one. If you have a design that you'd like to see for the rack extension platform, please contact us. There will be contact information on the webpage when this video is posted. And we want to do our best to support you in being successful on this platform. So go for it. The floodgates just open now. And to tease you a little bit, from a development perspective, I'd like to share this picture, because developing a rack extension is very different from developing a plugin for the old standards. And we said, we always say about musicians that what we want to do is enable them to concentrate on their music rather than the technology that creates it. So we said, what if we can do the same thing for developers? What if we can let them focus on what actually matters? So what this picture shows you is that up on the left side, which would be the traditional platform, there's actually a lot of work that you're doing again that other people have done. You're doing work as creating that plugin. You're doing work that the host, code that a host already has. You're doing work that other plugin developers have already done. You're reinventing the wheel over and over again. So we said, let's see if we can take all that stuff out and just leave the stuff that matters, which are the three things you see up here. The DSP, which is the audio code. That's what we want developers to focus on, write great audio code, do useful and cool user interfaces, and get the workflow right. So making a rack extension is much less work than doing a traditional plugin. And if by now you're thinking that this is some kind of scripting, low-tech stuff, it is not. It can be exactly the same DSP code in a rack extension as there is in a VST plugin, if you want it to be. In fact, the story is that we had the Softtube people up and compiling their DSP code in 15 minutes. A lot of work left after that, but at least it's a really good start. So if you have code, you can use it. Okay, final things are, how are you going to make this available? Rack extensions will be shipping in Reason 6.5, which is the next big update of Reason. But they will also be available in Reason Essentials 1.5. So if you like what you're seeing, but you're still not a Reason user, you can get into this for $99. Next question is when? Well, we said that this is a technology demo. We're not showing final product, but we're not that far off the mark. So we'll be shipping in Q2 this year. So before summer really starts, you'll be using rack extensions. And again, the last thing, price. How much should we charge people for getting onto this bandwagon? We decided that the right price was $0. So Reason 6.5 and Reason Essentials 1.5 are free updates for Reason 6 and Essential users. So musicians can spend their money on what really matters and what helps their creativity and their music making, which is tons of cool new instruments and effects. And with that, I thank you, and I wish you all a great Musikmesse 2012. Thank you.